du stream Hasbro Pulse Fan Stream Power Rangers. Donc c'est sur la semaine dédiée à Power Rangers. Donc c'est Yusuke-sen pour TokuClubFR. Merci d'être là durant le stream. Alors je sais que c'est un stream improvisé, mais nous arrivons enfin aux nouveautés qui vont nous être montrées par Hasbro Pulse courant des mois à venir.
We are so excited to be here. I'm Pam from the marketing team.
And I'm Jordan from product design.
Yeah. So
Ils ont l'air motivés, les gars.
We're going to talk a little bit about the run of show for today. We are going to kick it off talking about toys, starting with Lightning Collection, reveals, pre-orders, what's already happened. And then we're actually going to talk about Street Fighter and our collab. It's going to be amazing. And then we have an interview with Boom Comics. Then we're also going to talk about
Il va y avoir apparemment de la présentation de prochains comics qui vont sortir chez Bonne Comics aux États-Unis et des jouets de la série Lightning Collection.
So earlier this month, we've revealed and started pre-ordering a few items. So first off on the agenda, we have Lost Galaxy Green.
Dans le Green Ranger de la série L'autre galaxie, Adam qui a repris la suite du Ranger Noir dans MMPR et le Yellow Dino Tonnerre.
And guess what? We know that we've already shown you Wild Force Blue Max in celebration of I Love Power Rangers. You know, we really loved reading what you guys, the fans for Ranger Nation, have said about I Love Power Rangers. Thank you so much, Adam, for really kicking off that hashtag. So we just wanted to share a little bit from ourselves of why we actually love Power Rangers and why it's special to us. Yeah.
Where do we even begin with that?
I don't even know. But yeah, so for why I love Power Rangers. So for me, I mean, I actually started watching the show back in the day when it was currently on air. I was a very young child, let's say. And to me, it just totally resonated with me because, you know, like, I always kind of felt like an outcast a little bit, and that show kind of really connected with me. Like, I loved the storyline of Billy. He was always kind of my favorite Ranger. And then of course for me, like, Trini was so special. She was such an awesome Ranger. She was like the coolest ever Asian superhero.
Yeah, right?
And like it was awesome really seeing that as a young kid.
Super important.
Yeah.
And then not to mention as important and awesome as representation is, way back in the 90s, the amazing Megazords and Morphers and weapons from Power Rangers history have always been something that stuck with me. And in fact, my very first school photo of me in kindergarten is actually of me in a Power Rangers t-shirt. Because I didn't tell my mom that it was photo day, so I just put on my favorite t-shirt, showed up to school, and was like, I'm a Power Rangers kid. So suffice to say, Power Rangers is a pretty big part of my childhood, and we were super excited to be working on the product for it.
So again, we love what we're seeing on social in terms of I Love Power Rangers, so keep on actually sharing your stories of why you love Power Rangers. So, in celebration of I Love Power Rangers, we announced Wild Force Blue Max. So, we just wanted to have a closer
Donc là, il
look
présente
of the products.
Blue Ranger de la série des...
On his amazing portrait. Big shout out to Corey and Loretta and the rest of the team for putting together another awesome addition to the Wild Force team.
Voilà, la série Power Ranger Wild Force, effectivement.
What are his Tonfa weapons called again?
His shark fin fighting accessories.
Yeah, I forget off the top of my head. It's been so long since the season, but he comes with both of them. I think he actually might be one of the things that I like.
Qui est lui vendu avec ses armes, contrairement au Zeo Ranger bleu où il fallait acheter un cog pour acheter pour avoir les armes du Ranger bleu. Effectivement.
Mouth coming around the helmet and then the teeth kind of forming around the eyes is pretty iconic, but I also love how it's expressed through his fighting fins because they look super awesome and like classic Power Rangers.
Yeah, that is going to be available tomorrow in celebration of Power Morphicon. Pre-orders are going to be available at 1 p.m. at Hasbro Pulse, Walmart, Target, and other stores near you.
Donc,
So that is actually a
le Ranger
culmination
bleu
of
de
all of
White
Wave
Force
12.
est en
So we
précommande
have
à
an
compter de
awesome
demain,
image to
le
show
26 août,
you with our entire wave
sur le site de
of
Hasbro
all
Pulse.
of the 2022 items,
at
including
that.
our Wave 11. So this is an awesome render, commissioned by Jarrett from our brand creative team, and I love the way that it looks.
It's amazing. I can't believe that it's actually an entirely digital render. That's what makes it just extra wow factor, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So we love what fans are doing this month in celebration of Power Week. We've seen that fans, Ranger Liz, on Twitter has actually created a month-long calendar celebrating a lot of different things each day, and we would love to really participate in that calendar. So earlier this week on Instagram, we announced that we were celebrating Monday with Dino Charge Blue, and we're actually going to be showing you a first look of the Paint Master of Coda.
Check him out in all his dino charging glory. I'm a really big fan of Coda as like a character, and I think the face sculpt for this came out amazing. And there he is with all of accessories and blast parts.
Awesome. And that's going to be pre-ordered later this year. And next, we're in celebration of tomorrow, we are celebrating Beast Morphers. So we just wanted to announce for the very first time that we're going to be coming out with Beast Morphers Yellow Ranger Zoe. We're super excited about that, and these will be
Donc le Ranger rose,
both pre-ordered
Ranger jaune,
later
pardon,
this year.
excusez-moi.
So, we're actually going to talk about
Des
the
RPM.
Lux figures.
Pas des
Really
RPM.
excited to talk about.
Si, des RPM.
First off, we have
Pardon,
MMPR Snizzard.
A brand new monster to the line.
Et donc voici
Fun
apparemment
fact,
une...
originally voiced by Brian Cranston himself. Now
Wow.
Enfin, ils ressortent des
really?
monstres
Yes, moved on
en
to
Lighting
very,
Collection. Ça
very
faisait un petit moment
amazing
qu'ils n'en avaient
things
pas
since
sorti
then.
d'ailleurs.
But I'm sure we like to think of Power Rangers as giving him a
Depuis,
great
je
start
crois,
in the voice acting
le
field.
monstre qui avait plein d'œil sur
But
lui.
onto the figure itself, what was really challenging about capturing Snizzard in toy form, in plastic form, was his design's pretty out there for a Sentai monster. You know, his legs are basically piles of snakes, and then his arms are also snakes. He is a snake made of snakes. I guess he's also part lizard because his name is Snizzard. But I think Corey and Loretta, again, did an amazing job bringing this really far out design into plastic form. So a couple things we want to call out about the figure itself. One, the tail does have a wire in it, so it's a little flexible, so you can kind of pose it out in all sorts of snizzardy ways. Another cool thing is actually his jaw, which I think we had a photo of the product on screen just a second ago, but doesn't exactly showcase how cleverly engineered and designed the double hinged jaw is, because he can open it up quite large, and of course now I got it stuck on. There we go. You can open it
Là, on
up
voit qu'effectivement, il y a des articulations au niveau de la bouche et des mini-serpents à l'intérieur de sa bouche, et du coup ça fait qu'il peut déployer en fait sa mâchoire de façon à pouvoir attaquer.
Coiled up so you can drape it around his body menacingly, or wrap up a ranger in it, get them all tangled up. Got his snake lasso and a sick, very unique blast effect part that goes onto his crown. So I think this is an absolute slam dunk of a figure, and I can't wait to see what fans think. The whole team is watching and wants to know how you feel.
Yeah, I love seeing more monsters in the line. Like, Snizzard is so iconic, so I love it.
Oh yeah, he's out there. What else we got for Deluxe?
In addition to Snizzard, we have Time Force Blue.
Donc là, le Time Force bleu.
With his Vector Cycle.
Plutôt bien réalisé, il sera vendu effectivement avec sa moto.
I'm a fan of the general aesthetic of Time Force. I think that working in the clock motif across pretty much every aspect of design is always just like, oh, you love to see it. A+, amazing job, Sentai design team. and I think the team here was super excited to bring some true vehicles to the Lightning Collection Deluxe line. I think before this we had, we had the Galaxy Glider with another Blue Ranger, TJ, and then we had the Unicycle. Thank you, the Omega Ranger Unicycle. Both technically vehicles or modes of transport, yes, for Rangers, but this is the first two-wheeled motorcycle, and I feel like Power Rangers and Super Sentai have a history of awesome bike designs. So in bringing this to Deluxe is a great way to celebrate all of that. So of course, I'm going to focus on the bike because I think that's the newest and has the most new and interesting things going on with it. So you see he's got these removable cannons on the side. The barrels can actually spin and rotate a little bit. There we go. I feel like that's a very heavy loadout for for a vector cycle. It's like,
donc ils avaient fait la même chose quand ils avaient sorti le Power Rangers bleu in space. Quand ils avaient sorti cette figurine, ils avaient sorti le surf spatial également. Ils l'avaient pas de mémoire, je crois qu'ils l'ont sorti que pour quelques figurines et pas pour tous.
It's pretty smoky colored, but still has a nice blue tint to it. What's cool about the translucent plastic is that it lets you see the gauges, which are decoed on the handlebars, which can rotate the tire as well. You see, it's like, woo, 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 just like a real bike. Also, I'm just noticing the wheels are nice and rubbery. So from one fan to the Power Rangers design and development team, nice job. And of course, we have the figure, Time Force Blue figure himself, Lucas. Let's get a quick close-up on his portrait, which I think came out great. Corey and Loretta and the team did an amazing job.
Les visages sont plutôt bien faits quand même par rapport
aux
premières séries de Lighting Collection.
A nice string of really nice looking portraits, and Lucas is no different. I think they captured a pretty nice likeness there. But in addition to the civilian portrait, he comes with his Chrono Sabers and Chrono Blaster, the standard armaments of the Time Force team. And so inside the set, I think you'll have everything you need to kick butt in time.
Well, thank you, Jordan. So MMPR Snizzard and Time Force Blue Lucas are going to be
donc cette figurine est la figurine du monstre et la figurine du Time Force Blue sont disponibles d'ores et déjà à compter d'aujourd'hui le 25 août sur le site de Hasbro Pulse. Et il va y avoir le morpheur du Ranger jaune MMPR. Ils ont sorti de mémoire le morpheur qui est identique pour chacun des Power Rangers. Ils avaient sorti celui dont j'ai fait l'acquisition, le morpheur du Ranger rose, avec les couleurs roses au niveau du support du morpheur. Et là, ils sortent le morpheur du Ranger jaune. Avec la voix du Ranger jaune. Censé être la voix du Ranger jaune.
The display stand and these multiple kind of cardboard milk cap style coin medallions for you to display in the base if you don't want to display the other.
Et donc avec bien évidemment les médaillons que vous avez dans toutes les versions possibles imaginables de ce morpheur.
Nice. Oh, we've got so many pre-orders for everyone today. That's exciting.
I know, we do. We're really excited about all of it.
Donc, en fait, si c'est accessible en fait dans les magasins GameStop aux États-Unis, faut savoir que les magasins Micromania sont en partenariat avec les magasins GameStop en France, et que toutes les exclusivités qu'on peut avoir chez GameStop, on peut les avoir, on peut les précommander directement auprès de Micromania.
Yeah, hi Loretta, hi everybody. I'm super excited to talk to you guys about
Donc là,
our newest
apparemment, il y a
collaboration.
la
It's
collaboration
Street Fighter Power Rangers, right, Loretta?
Power Ranger X
It's a
Street Fighter.
knockout, yes. These are the
Et là,
original
il
Battle for the Grid and
montrait,
Legacy
la
Wars
figurine
collab
de
that we
Ryu.
had with Street Fighter, so we had some amazing assets to work with.
Yeah, they're so cool.
We'll start with
Personnage que l'on peut retrouver
Crimson Hawk,
sur le
Ryu. So
le
bringing
jeu
these
vidéo,
characters to
le jeu
life
vidéo
was so much fun
de
because
combat,
I knew they
enfin
were
de
gonna
baston
always
sur
sur
tous les supports.
But check it out.
PC,
We got some
Switch,
articulation in this guy's
PS4,
headband, which is great. He's got his
Xbox.
iconic boxing gloves. He just really, really great. He also comes with his iconic blast effects. We did we really tried to bring to life all of the iconic things from the video games traditionally and with our own. So you'll see we have all those morphed versions come to life. They do come for the first time ever with this stand, which you can pose the figures on. That they don't really need it, but it is some extra stability in case you ever do, as well as this awesome peggable blast effect pieces. He also comes with his Hadouken blast, which we molded these in a matte finish this time, which is also new for us. But you get this really beautiful translucency and you see the extra depth in plastic. So you get kind of like a color gradient blended into it, which looks really great. He comes, of course, with his signature Hurricane Kick, which also fits on his fist as well.
On peut
So
mettre
it's a
des
little
effets aussi bien
interchangeable.
au niveau des poings que des
And
jambes.
That's Ryu, but we have another to show
Qui
you.
fait penser aux
We
attaques
have Chun-Li.
que Ryu
who
peut
is the
avoir
North
dans le jeu vidéo. Et là,
Blazing Phoenix.
Chun-Li
Yeah, I love this
en
figure.
version,
Something about
version
I just,
Power Rangers
you know, it's
MPR.
super unique, and I love all the elements they brought into this character, which it's still like pretty rangery, but there's so many just traditional elements that I love. We did a lot of custom sculpting for her. We even included
Les figurines sont
new
vendues sans les
legs,
têtes, hein. Enfin, sans les
which you
têtes
may or may not
interchangeables,
notice, but they
apparemment,
are
d'après ce
a
que j'ai
bit
pu voir.
more
À
muscular.
moins qu'ils
We
aient pas
really
tout montré.
wanted to bring
Mais-
the form factor of the video game into our product
Mais apparemment, c'est ce
to
qu'il
blend the character a little bit more
il y a
and
que
be
la tête
more
avec le casque, en
iconic.
fait.
So that is a new, more
Donc,
muscular leg that we're using. She
collab
also
avec
has
Capcom,
her
forcément.
specific boots, and she just looks really incredible. Again, we spent a lot of time on the blast effects. We wanted something that really spoke to the essence of the game and this morphed version. So what was really important was those bird elements, and we wanted to bring those blast effects of the birds that fly through their opponent. And for Chun-Li, we have this beautiful phoenix. You can see there's actually like feathers coming off of it. And then there is kind of a mushroom blast, which that becomes the bird. And then, of course, it would not be Chun-Li unless you had her signature lightning kick blast, which this is a beast. Like, look how cool it is.
That's amazing. It's got to be one of the most intense, large blast effects we've ever done, right?
Yeah, and I really love just the motion of it. I mean, it brings to life that I think it's called like the 100 kick when it's translated, but it's a very iconic movement, and this just has so much of that movement in the molded piece, which I love. So that was really great to bring to life. Why don't you tell us what it was like working on packaging and co-branding these two amazing iconic brands together?
Sure thing, Loretta. So you know that recently we've gone plastic-free with the Lightning Collection, and with that we had to create sort
Donc, les
of
packagings sont quand même
a
bien,
evolution
ils
of
sont
the
quand même bien
branding that we
faits, ils sont
did
cartonnés.
in
Donc
last
ça,
year's
ça laisse pas de
collaboration,
visibilité sur la
for
figurine en soi,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
mais
Power Rangers. So what we did was
ça présente quelques,
we kept the same sort of language that we
on va dire
established
quelques-
last year and really elevated it for this year.
quelques situations,
There's
attaques,
a
des
cool
personnages,
co-branded
les attaques principales
pattern that
des
travels throughout the
personnages
entire package.
du jeu vidéo. En
And
fait.
what we've done is actually put renders putting some of those iconic poses on the front of pack. we worked with Capcom really closely, and they were wonderful partners and provided us with a ton of information and a ton of assets.
Donc les figurines sont déjà en précommande en fait sur tous les sites.
It was really, really,
Internet,
really cool to see how all of these figures evolved
Magnatoys
over
pour
the
le moment, en
past
tout cas, d'après ce
35 years,
que j'ai vu.
because this is the 35th
et d'après,
anniversary of Street Fighter. So
certaines
we wanted to
informations
do something really special
de mes
to
collègues
bring it into the Power
admin.
Rangers universe. So what we did was we took the
De ma
iconic
collègue
Street Fighter
admin.
V character poses and
Alias
Power
Audrey.
Rangerized them. We worked with a great artist, Dave Raposa, who did this awesome side art. The side art really blends Street Fighter and Power Rangers together. Traditionally, our Power Rangers are more slender and more acrobatic, but these characters have a real power behind them that really comes through in the illustration. And what we did was we took some of those iconic Street Fighter V poses and brought them into our diorama shots that we did with our wonderful photographer Dave White, which you can take a look at here.
Yeah, I mean, it is so cool. Not only do I love like how you did a 1-for-1 of the iconic poses in these characters, that way, like whether you recognize them in this morph form or not, you still know that is the character. But when you look at this photography, I mean, it's incredible. The first time I saw it, I didn't even know that was like real photography. I actually thought you sent me something from the video game or a rendering. Like it was just too beautiful, too juicy. Like the colors are just so like they pop, they look like a video game. Like I could not believe how beautifully it was posed. It was exactly what I was envisioning, like this beautiful versus interactive display.
That's definitely what we were going for. That sort of like back and forth battling poses. We really wanted to bring that out in this character photography. And we were lucky enough to have the actual level art from Capcom that we could use as the backgrounds. So
I'm very glad now we don't have to contain our excitement and we can talk to everybody about this pretty openly. So I'm glad you got to see these first two characters. All right, so if you guys are as excited as we are about these new collab characters, don't forget to pre-order today on Hasbro Pulse and other family
Let's throw it over to Sam, who's talking to Ryan about Boom Comics.
Chez Magnatoys.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear about that. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Loretta and Jarrett. I am Sam, and I am a brand writer on Power Rangers. That means I do a lot of writing for toys and some internet stuff, but I don't get to write the comics. That is in the capable hands of Ryan Parrott, who's the comic book writer of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, who's with us today to talk Mighty Morphin Power Rangers
Donc là, on
number
part
100, the end of his run
sur les
on the
comics
line, and his big
chez
milestone
les studios
issue.
Boom Comics, Boom Studio, pardon, excusez-moi.
They let me do this
donc là,
because
ça
I
va
said,
parler
please let me do
comics,
this.
à
So it's really
venir,
cool to be here.
Sur le multiverse Power
That's
Rangers.
a good persuasive argument.
Yeah, I nailed it, I think. So yeah, Power Rangers 100. I mean, it's been kind of a wild ride. You know, how does it feel to have 100, which is this huge milestone, be your last issue?
Honestly, it's a little surreal. I remember after I wrote the first issue, I remember thinking, man, I really hope they let me do like one more of these. Especially after taking over for people like Kyle and Marguerite. And I was just like, wow, but then they let me do 2 a month. And here we are 5 years later. It's crazy. It's amazing to be a part of something, you know, because these don't happen very often, getting to 100 issues. So it's an honor to be able to grow something that I kind of grew up on.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, Power Rangers.
Est-ce que les Omega Rangers deviendraient méchants?
And you've really added to that legacy. It's been awesome to read and journey with you on that.
Oui, est-ce qu'il y aurait des versions négatives?
So, speaking of journeys, yeah. What can you tell us about the Charge to 100? What can you tell us about like all of the culmination of events from Mighty Morphin
Ce sont des comics que
and
nous
Power
n'aurons pas avant un
Rangers
certain temps
in this issue in September?
Chez nous en
Without
France.
spoiling too much, because I'm bad at that, you know, I just sort of give people some background. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit background. So after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 55, we split the book into 2 series. One sort of follows the Power Rangers on Earth, led by Tommy, the White Ranger, and the other sort of follows Jason and Trini and Zach as they became the Omega Rangers instead of going to the Peace Conference. Spoiler, that's the first Our first major arc was with the Altarian War, which sort of pitted both the Ranger teams and Zordon against his own people, and sort of told some origin stories of some major characters. But our last arc which has brought Andros, the Red Ranger from Power Rangers in Space. It details sort of the fall of KO-35 and the rise of a new threat, the Death Ranger. For me, it's a pretty personal story. It has the Rangers' faith, birth and loss, and also expands on the mythology in some pretty cool ways. And it also culminates in sort of an epic showdown in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 100. So, but I guarantee that the Rangers will not come out of the other side the same.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. I just want to say on a personal note, I am a non-binary person, and having the Death Ranger be just non-binary is awesome. So it's just so great to see that in this like brand and story that I love. So thank you, I guess, on behalf of myself as a person, but maybe the other non-binary fans out there.
Well, I should give credit to Paul, for Paul, who's writing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Power Rangers Unlimited. That was mostly his, and I want to give him credit for credit is due. We worked on the story together, but it was his idea to make them non-binary. So I'm very happy. That was a great idea.
Yeah, it's really cool. So pass my thanks on to Paul then.
Will do.
Awesome. So speaking of working with other people, like, how incredible is it to have all of these amazing artists and work with you on this big issue? How did that work along with your story? What was it like to work with so many different folks just for this one big story?
It was kind of like a high school reunion. I don't know if we have those anymore, but I'm assuming it would feel like a high school reunion. It's something that my editor brought up really early. She was like, let's bring back all of the people that you've worked with. And I was like, all of them? She's like, well, we'll bring back as many as we can because, they're all very busy and successful. But when we went to them, like almost everybody we went to was like, absolutely, I'd love to come back and be part of the story. So that was great. It was very sort of satisfying and cool. But Daphne is a little bit of a stickler for sort of justifying artistic changes. So we actually had to work out sort of a story device that sort of allowed. But thankfully, comic books actually work really well in that way. So I think it actually works perfectly for the comic book. So when the reader sees it, I think you'll understand what we were going for. And it's a really fun sort of, I don't want to say trip down memory lane because that sounds less terrifying than it actually is. But a nice little refresher for greatest hits. We'll just call it greatest hits.
Greatest hits. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, there's something kind of cool about the medium of comics that lets you do all sorts of storytelling you couldn't necessarily do in another way.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I could talk about how awesome comic books are all day. Like just in the
same.
sense that, yeah, like they're just like there's like the obvious reasons, which is like, they have the endless budget or the fact that none of your characters ever age unless you want them to, which is awesome. But I think, look, just to say it, like I'm going to get on my soapbox for 2 seconds, but like the thing that I love about comics as a general is that they're timeless. If you look back at sort of like superhero characters, like they've had thousands of stories about them with hundreds of writers taking part, and it's all additive. Like they've evolved and changed with the time, and if we're lucky, like these same characters will be around for our kids to evolve and change and fall in love with. And there's no other medium that does that, because in every other version the actors get older, or people don't like the fact that the original artist or the original writer or the original artist didn't do it. But in comics it's actually sort of like it's praised, and I think that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I'm going to take my soapbox before they hook me out of here for talking just about general comics. But, I kind of walk into my living room at home and look at my bookshelves, and it's just like it takes you right back, and you can feel that feeling all over again. It's really awesome.
Absolutely. I love
Comics
rereading
forever.
books again, because I think what's cool also is you can read them at different times in your life, and you read them when you were a kid, and you get one version, and you read them again, and you're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even. Anyways, we could do this all day.
Yeah, sorry, everybody who's in charge of me. But so back to Power Rangers specifically. In your time writing on Power Rangers, have you had any characters, stories, particular like story beats or moments that have really stood out to you that you're really proud of getting to work on?
Oh man, it's like picking your favorite kid. I can do that. I can pick my favorite kid. I think exactly. In a small way, I think my favorite stuff was sort of the flashbacks that we got to do in Go-Go. We got to reveal sort of Jason's past as a bully, or like Billy and Skull sort of early friendship, and then we got to do sort of the origins of like Rita's minions, and I think that was really fun to be able to sort of provide depth and context for characters like that who don't get a lot of attention. Bigger stuff, you know, like Ranger Slayer behind me, and the Turtle Rangers, and then the thing that I think I'm actually the most proudest of, it was Zed's origin story that I was able to sort of do, because like I was really scared. I was like, man, the fans are not gonna like this, but weirdly enough, I actually think that the vast majority, at least the ones that have talked to me, seem to be really pleased by it. So that was scary, because as a, you know, thinking it back to my 13-year-old self, like realizing I'm giving the origin to a character that I loved when I was a kid is very scary.
Yeah, I actually saw a conversation you were having on Twitter about Jason's backstory and sort of like good people doing bad things, and I think that's that kind of depth that you can get into in your stories is so great, and it brings such a richness to these characters.
Well, thank you. I think that story in particular was really fun for me, because I actually got to sit down and think about like why would Jason, why do people get into martial arts, why has it become such a formative part of their lives? And it was interesting to sort of think about the idea of somebody who saw a negative part of their personality find a way to channel it into a positive. And I think that's something we can all sort of relate with, like finding parts of ourselves that we don't love or we think are limiting, and figuring out, and then the goal is all of it is to find a way to make that into something that makes our people's lives better. And I thought that actually is, as you know, some people could look at that and go, oh no, you're making Jason flawed or you know, like a bad person. But I was like, no, I think all of us deal with our own little insecurities and issues, and if you can make those your own and make the world better with it, that's better. And I think that was something that was really fun.
Yeah, and it really came across, and I think, like I said, adding that kind of, you know, like it humanizes these characters, and because we all do make mistakes, but we can all learn and become better people for it. And you know, Jason's one of the best people, right? So I think you know, that story is a good way to show that.
Agreed.
Okay, again, I could get into story for 800 years, but I know every copy of Power Rangers 100, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 100 is going to come with a super cool trading card and an exclusive Dan Mora print, which I'm super excited about. If you had a trading card of you, a Ryan trading card, would you be a Ranger or villain? What's your Ranger color? What's your Ranger power? What would your card say?
Oh man, I would love to be a Ranger, but I guarantee you I would be like one of the sidelines. I'd be like, it'd be like Bulk and Skull and Parrot. Like that's what that would be. You know, like on the back of those trading cards, I have like the little grids that have like the strength and endurance and speed. Those would all be like ones, and then arrogance would be like an 8, and then that would be in the back of my trading card.
That's great. I mean, I think it's, you know, you gotta be honest with her. We all want to be Rangers, but let's be realistic, right? I think I'd probably be a sidekick myself. So.
Me too.
So, you know, this has been a great chat. I've loved the soapboxing on comics. I've loved talking about Power Rangers. You know, I've been reading the comics since the beginning, and it's been a great run with you. So, you know, any last words for fans and readers who, like myself, have really enjoyed the stories that you've been telling and the time we've gotten to spend with you and your version of Power Rangers over the last 5 years?
Oh, wow. You know, it sounds cheesy, but like just a big thank you, you know, like with COVID starting to slow down and stuff, I had a chance to actually go to some cons this year, and you know, and I've had people that come up to me who tell me that they read the comics with their kids, and some of them told me that it sort of reignited their love for the franchise, and they've gone back and rewatched the shows. And I even had a few people reach out to me after there was one of the Rangers family members passes in one of the issues, and I tried to deal with it in a very realistic and very sort of hopefully understanding way. And I've had people tell me that reading that issue helped them sort of articulate some of their own feelings, and I think that's like the greatest thing you can ever hope for. You know, I'm very, very lucky to be a part of this franchise, and I think the thing that I'm super excited about now is I get to sort of be like one of the fans. I get to step away from this, and I get to hand it off to smarter, better people than myself, and they get to take the story and run with it, and I just get to read it and go back to being what I was when I was a kid. So to all the fans who liked the run and have really enjoyed me on it, I mean, I was really scared coming on, and it's been an absolutely maybe the best thing that I've ever been a part of. So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Ryan. I mean, like I said, it's been an awesome run, and seeing what you've done with these characters that have been a part of our lives for so long, it's been really good. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and it was awesome to meet you, and I hope we get to chat again someday.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, have a great day. And now I believe I'm going to kick it back to Pam and Jordan for some more Power Week fun times.
Thanks, Sam and Ryan. Whew.
Alors, nous
love
retournons
these
sur les
masks, Jordan,
présentateurs
from Funko Pop.
du stream.
They are so much fun, and
Et
I think they look
apparemment,
amazing.
ouais,
That
des gros masques disponibles directement
So we have actually
sur
some
Amazon.
additional Power Rangers
On va dire des
merchandise that
masques
we'd love to
ressemblant
talk
à
about
des têtes
during the segment.
de Funko
There are
Pop.
also these really cool
Des coussins aussi,
mochi
apparemment.
Club Mochi Mochi.
Du
Mochi Mochi pillows.
Ranger
Honestly,
Rouge
these are
MMPR.
so cute and so much fun. They're so squishy.
Et
I absolutely love them.
Tommy, le Ranger
The
vert.
softness of these plush cannot be overstated. Perfect for a pillow. Perfect to cuddle while you watch Power Rangers. Perfect to sit on
Si
your
vous vous
Power
souvenez, à
Rangers
l'époque, ils
stuff.
avaient sorti
It's part of your
également
collection.
And they come in
la
different
voiture.
sizes. And last, we also wanted to talk about this Jada
La voiture
vehicle.
avec
So this actually
le
comes in
personnage
two
à côté de
different sizes. So we
Jason
have this
en Ranger vert et puis
1/32 scale, and then we also have a
la voiture
1/24
version
scale of
Ranger
the
rouge
Pink
aussi.
Ranger with the Toyota F1
Et là, ils ont
concept.
sorti,
So
là,
this thing
ils vont
is-
sortir
Tell us
la
more
voiture
about
de
it.
la Ranger
Well,
Rose,
it
Pink
is
Ranger,
made of
MMPR
die-cast,
également.
And has
Apparemment, on peut
opening
ouvrir les
doors,
portes. Bon, on peut pas
raising
mettre le
and
personnage parce que c'est pas un
lowering
personnage qui est
spoiler, which is
articulé.
pretty cool, and has a very nice rolling feel to it. Gosh, feel that roll.
Mais on peut la mettre à côté
like
du
butter.
véhicule, effectivement.
What are those
So
wheels
smooth,
made
so
from?
smooth. They feel a little bit rubbery, so they got a bit of a grip to them. And it looks great out of the box, in the box, and is a great supplement to your Pink Ranger sub-collection shelf.
Cool. So this is actually available in stores near you, so definitely check it out online. I think that's really all we have for the
That was so
Power Rangers
much
merchandise.
stuff.
I know, right? But that's not all. We actually have some news too about our awesome Power Rangers Legacy War Games. So we're actually really excited to announce that tomorrow they're going to be releasing the character Zato on the app. So
Voilà, nous allons sur le jeu mobile.
Zato will be joining the
Power Rangers
Power
Legacy War.
Rangers Legacy Wars team tomorrow. And again, if you're not
Apparemment,
familiar with the Power Rangers Legacy Wars, it's really a more phenomenal
Ranger Rouge,
mobile game where
Dino
you can
Fury
really unlock Rangers and villains across the
va
board
être
and grid
disponible.
and really battle with other players in real time. So make sure to download Legacy Wars on iOS or Android today to play Zato tomorrow because it's going to be great. So one thing that we also wanted to share with you too is also Dino Fury. We're really excited about our announcement on Monday that the second half of the season is going to be available on Netflix later this fall. So we actually have a sneak peek of a minute
Donc il parle de la
clip
série
of
sur
episode
Netflix,
14
Dino
just for
Fury.
you.
La saison 2 va pas tarder à sortir.
It certainly smells alien.
You sure that's not Javi's new cologne? Oh, he goes heavy.
It's his signature scent.
Donc la série, la saison 2 de Dino Fury est disponible à partir de demain. On est le 25, donc à compter du 26 août. Ah pardon, septembre la sortie.
The legends say the sporic species were created on this planet millions of years ago. We're going to find the generator that brought them to life.
Then we sell it for billions and all get beach houses?
Merci Sakura pour l'info.
I use it to build my own unstoppable army.
He's going to make more spore XPs. Not if I destroy him first. Yo! Meat man!
Oh look!
Donc apparemment Lord Z est de retour. Donc ça risque d'être une saison 2 avec
Man,
plein de
I cannot wait
rebondissements.
to see what happens
On verra ce
next.
qui lancera.
One of the biggest things that I've been a fan of for Dino Fury this season, for the entirety of Dino Fury, is how they keep calling back to old.
Donc dispo dans les prochains jours, courant septembre,
We have the reappearance of Scrozzle.
la saison 2 sortira
What's
sur
gonna happen
Netflix.
next? I kind of know. You should be really excited. So tune in later this year to see how the second season of Dino Fury concludes.
Après,
It's great. So we're really excited to show that
Après,
off today.
on attend de
And
savoir
that's
ce que
actually
va
it
devenir
for
la
our
licence,
Power
la
Week
série, enfin la
segment for
licence
today. So thank you everyone
courant
for
des
tuning
années à
in
venir, parce que là on
and
parle de la saison
staying
2
with
d'Inno
us.
Fury, effectivement, bon bah
Love
c'est
you
pas sorti en-
so much, Ranger Nation.
J'imagine qu'ils sont
and
déjà sur des...
Happy Power Week. You know, I hope everyone has an awesome time this weekend. We're really excited for Power Rangers
Hasbro est déjà
Day
sur
this
sans doute un
Sunday.
projet
So yeah.
de renouvellement de la
I think it's-
série,
you know, it's time to sing
certainement
a
sur
song.
peut-être
Go,
des
go,
films, des
Power
séries animées, ou alors
Week.
série live action.
So,
On ne sait pas encore,
I'm really
mais
excited to
ça serait bien
show
qu'on
off
puisse
the Power-
savoir effectivement ce qu'adviendra la licence en soi, bon, à part les comics, les jouets, les séries TV, on sait pas trop. Donc j'aimerais bien qu'ils nous mettent qu'ils nous donnent des infos. Je pense qu'ils nous en donneront courant de l'année 2023. Voilà, le Hasbro Pulse c'est terminé. Donc on a quelques infos. On a quelques infos qui nous ont été transmises, des jouets à venir, etc. Donc là, ce qui va se passer, c'est que forcément, nous aurons des news au niveau comics, jouets, et encore, si ça se trouve là, il va encore peut-être y avoir des nouveautés courant fin d'année pour courant 2023. C'est même sûr et certain, et on n'a pas toutes les informations, donc en attente d'avoir plus d'informations. Et de toute façon, Hasbro, leur système de communication, ils communiquent toujours des informations avant de faire des lives, donc forcément on sera au courant avant les lives. Mais on savait d'ores et déjà par Hasbro, par des personnes qui, des pages Facebook, les produits qui vont sortir à l'avance avant les lives, donc forcément il n'y a plus vraiment de surprise à ce niveau là. Alors c'était Yosuke-san pour TokuClubFR sur notre chaîne Twitch. Je vous souhaite une excellente soirée, et puis on vous donnera des nouvelles sur les nouveautés à venir, que ce soit comics chez Vestron, manga aussi, du côté Kamen Rider et Sentai, enfin Kamen Rider du côté Kamen Rider double, puisque c'est sorti aux éditions Michel Lafon, et puis Kamen Rider aussi aux éditions Black Box. Enfin, c'est plus ou moins une société qui fonctionne avec Black Box, donc tout ça on vous mettra au courant de toutes ces nouveautés. Très bonne soirée à vous, et puis à bientôt pour de prochaines nouveautés, news sur TokuClubFR de la chaîne Twitch, et puis suivez notre page Facebook également. Allez, à ciao, c'était Yusuke-san pour TokuClubFR.